So we've reached 1,000 subscribers. That's wicked. I want to thank everybody for helping me out, watching my stuff, supporting me, commenting, flipping me off. Anything is good. So keep it coming. Thanks for watching. All right. Work, 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 work. Just some more town work today. So leftovers from the guy I do all the frag stuff for. We got a bunch of tanks at the cleaning place. So scratch my head. It's gonna, I'm like, oh, tanks, boring, but I'll do a how-to double suck 400 barrel tanks. Load and unload, of course. I got 10 tanks I gotta move today. I think I'm doing it solo, so I'll make something cool out of it. Be right back. Well, look at this. It's all done. Run it through its paces today. Retorque the front tires. Break in this new clutch. Park me right in the mud. Alright, well, we're all saddled up here. Came over to yard number 2, grabbed the trailer. I'm going to zip over to the place where they clean all the tanks, and we'll start hawking loads from there. Looks like I'm solo. I must be some sort of tank god or something. Could have used one extra truck, but whatever. We like to run these swivel D. Very convenient for doing like train stuff, which we do a lot of that. So I don't honestly, well, that's a lot nicer, sucking it up over the wheel. And we just have a pickup sling on that we put on each trailer, so when you deck down, you just undo the D from the shackle and step ahead. Makes for unloading nice and quick. That's safe. We'll just put those there for 5 minutes because I'll be using them. We're just going across town. Looks like I gotta put my own mud flap on.
Stop it! Oh. Get out of there! Oh.
I got enough for. Of course, they had the engine apart, so it was expected to happen, but didn't do it at the shop until I started driving down the road. Oh, I got one mismatched light. Oh, she only needs a little sippy. I was gonna blow up in my face. Rule number 1, always open it slowly or else it'll shoot all the coolant out. Well, not all of it, but a lot. It'd be messy. It'll probably happen again. That's what happens when you take the motor apart. Jeez Louise. Now we'll line up to the tanks. The downfall of having the swivel D. Oh, they're nicely lined up too. Perfect. Now they got that hooked up. Hopefully it's got to put 2 chains in between to hold them. Usually we put them a lot closer than that. But hey, what do you do? So rule number 1, if you're going to use 2 chains, they got to be the same length. Or else it'll be all crooked.
What the hell that be? Oh.
Alright, now I'm going to drive a head spool out, and then I'll tighten up until chain's tight. Suck myself back under.
Did you say suck?
A little better now. You got a different chain, found a shorter one because that other one was way too long. Like I said, when I kicked it off, the back tank went until it teetered and into the ground, which isn't the end of the world, but not best for showing where you're dropping them off. It kind of seems a little rough, but see, now this way I could just use this chain I had and it saves on putting another chain across there, cheating the system a little bit. So I did like multiple camera positions on all 6 loads. So there will be all these different angles. I just kind of try to grab something different every trip, and then I just kind of tried to commingle it all into one load. But it wasn't working out very well. So you might see some stuff that ain't matching up, and I show a little extra in the end of some other scenarios as well. How else are you supposed to be excited about tanks? You gotta show the people in a way that it's gotta keep it new and exciting. If you wanna make films, you gotta be able to take the most boringest thing in the world and turn it into something exciting that someone's gonna go, ah, that was kinda cool. And that's basically how they suck most of society into the theater nowadays. It worked there, why can't it work for me?
I love this guy, he's so cool.
You know, next time you pull out your swing outs and it makes that noise, you're gonna think of Chewbacca now. So there's multiple ways you can do this. Now I like to get both of my tanks onto the ground, and then I'll shove the front one backwards just enough so I can get my chain off. So when the next guy comes, usually to double suck them on, it's usually in the right distance, where some guys will dump the first tank, have it teetering, and then undo their chains, pull ahead, then kick off, leaving it for the next guy that's got to come and load it. He's got to pick it up, back up. It's just an extra step. Either way, it's an extra step if you want to take a chain off in between unloading. It's an extra step if you got to pick up the front tank, shove it back, fill the skid with dirt, or pick it up on the roll and then back up. Alright, so now after you undo your boomers, it's easy for this guy. Just put it there. So it's under, over. You can go under both, but usually the first tank, when you push it back a little bit to get your chain out, it builds up a bunch of dirt, and then you gotta dig that shit out. Nobody wants to do that. And make sure it doesn't get caught up and everything. Catastrophic failure. My second name. Usually at this point, if you have the chain underneath both tanks on the bottom of the round bar, it'll help lift up the ass end of the front tank and get it over the rolls. I see a lot of guys getting it right to the rear of the trailer, and it ends up getting kind of almost hung up on the roll because their chains are just the right length that it happens. So you can see here clearly I've just fucked up. The front tank is on both rolls and it rolled back as I winched down, creating too much slack in the middle chain, and when the back tank comes over the back of the roll, it's going to shock load my load chain, and it actually ended up bending a few of the links. I always recommend, if you're going to get double suck chains, even if you're going to use a 26 footer or two, I think it's 5 footers or 5.5s, I would just recommend getting the highest tensile, nice hooks, and then you're done, because you don't need them blowing up on you. So now that your first tank is touched down, you basically use it as an anchor to pull the front tank back. Some of the trailers, like my road train trailer, was 46 or 48 feet just on the lower deck, and it only had a single roll, so the tank was always in between. The front tank would just barely be on the middle of the roll, and then in between the center roll and the back of the trailer on the roll, it was always on no roll. So you would have to use the back tank to anchor the front tank. Sometimes you'd get aggressive, but a lot of these Doppkers have double rolls, which makes beautiful for unloading. So nice and easy and simple. But winter is a whole different story, because usually you drive, I see guys driving halfway across the yard, pull, and so you're out in the middle of the yard. That's not where they want them unloaded. So it wasn't the smoothest. So you can take your chains off. Usually what I would do is get both tanks down, and then I would push the front one back, so it's just one less time you gotta get out of the truck. But might as well show every way. Uh-oh. Ooh, almost didn't go enough. found a shorter chain, so it worked a lot better. Oh, it was still a little rough. So this is what I do if the tanks are too far apart. The cleaners had put a bunch of tanks that I couldn't line up to, so we had to move 6, and I expressed to them how far apart they need to be, because out of all these loads, the only ones that I got the chain on was the one that I had the chain was way too fucking long. So by now I'm kind of getting a little angry that I've had to do this with every load. Close enough. So here's kind of the second alternative, which is the one I favor. It's just less screwing around. You're just down and out. You get out, you take off your middle chain, you sweep your deck, you take off your winch line, yada yada yada, and boom, you're out. You just got to be careful. A lot of older tanks don't have that much skid sticking out the front, so when you do winch down to catch it with your bumper and you push back, you catch some of their hatches stick out far, some of the teeth hatches stick out. There's all sorts of different tanks, but I'm very familiar with green tanks. I've been hauling them for 10 plus years, so I know them well. And it only seems like the really, really old tanks have some really bad designs where the hatch sticks out further than the skid for some reason. See, now by pushing it back, I only got to get out once instead of twice. And the chains are loose. Just push it back a little bit.
Crunch time.
Uma ameaça foi detectada. Uma ameaça foi detectada.